What's up, guys? Brady Shirtswell here, and I have been live streaming the YNW Melly trial the last couple days. I've had a lot of people asking the same few questions and kind of getting confused about some of the info that we've been given so far. Now, y'all know I love a graphic, so I made this to try to help explain some of what's been told to us so far through the opening statements. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so this is what I keep having people ask about in the stream. The two cars, there was some confusion about the two cars. So the red SUV that we saw in the studio parking lot and the blackish, bluish, grayish Jeep, depending on which video or picture you're seeing it in. They both left the studio about the same time, about 3:19 in the morning. They took the same route. You see them taking this blue route is the route that they took. They both took the same route home. And then they got about right here. The red SUV entered the gates of the neighborhood at 3:58 a.m. So, which is about right. It's about a 40-minute drive. So the red SUV goes inside and does not move again. However, when they get to the gates, the Jeep does not enter the gates. It goes back up. You can see right here going back up west over. All of this green that you see is green, like way over yonder. This is out to the edge of the Everglades. This is where nothing really happens over here. There ain't a whole lot going on. So at 4:02, when the Jeep gets over here to the edge, in the pictures like we saw of where the scene was staged, if at 4:02, Melly exits his car. Now, this is one of the things that they have against him too, based on the opening statements. So at 3:19, they both left. They drove the same route. The red one goes home. The Jeep goes north. Okay, so there were 70 steps recorded on Melly's phone when he was leaving the studio, which makes sense. You know, that you could see in the video them walking back and forth a little bit. There were 70 steps again when he exited the car. Now, we know that steps are not really accurate as far as that doesn't mean he walked exactly 70 steps. It just means that there was movement and it recorded that many. So it would be somewhere around there. But the biggest thing is that it recorded movement. Based on the cell phone data, after they stopped, they came down here, came over, and then went down this little dead end road where there's a trash dump at the end of the road. Now, at 4:20 a.m., Melly's phone separates from the victim's phones for the first time since they've left the studio. This entire time they've been writing together. Everything the last hour has shown them together. So at 4:20, his phone separates for the first time. Now, during the time between 4:20 and 4:35, when Bortland arrived at the hospital, Melly FaceTimes his girlfriend. He tells his girlfriend at the time that he was just involved in a drive-by, that he thinks that Sack and Juvie are dead. She screams, wakes up Mama. Mama wakes up, looks at the phone. She sees him on there too. So both of them are witnesses saying that they saw him on FaceTime talking about this. Now, at the hospital, Bortland tells police department that the shooting occurred between 160th and 172nd. So that's this little red spot right here. It's like one block, kind of. I mean, it's like the Main Street blocks right here. And that's about a mile. So he says that it happened somewhere around in there. Now, with it being so close to the hospital, which is right here, he said it happened sometime right here and then went up. But of course, that's not the route that they were on at that moment. They were there a lot earlier. So they shut down, police shut down this whole area and are searching. They don't see any glass. They don't see any shell casings. They don't see anything that looks like anything. It's complete lack of evidence. So then they shut down this block. They check again and still don't see anything. So the everything that was found over here wasn't actually found until later, because it took a while to get their cell phone location data. Now, at 4:42, Melly drops a pin for Fredo Bang to come to Fredo Bang for him to come pick him up. And then 11 minutes later, he drops another one to let him know where he's at to come pick him up. Now, this is one of the big things between 4:42 when he drops the pin to come pick him up and 4:53 when he drops the second pin. There are 1,397 steps. So that's a lot of steps, y'all, in 11 minutes. So that is one of the things that, looks suspicious. So that is some of the evidence that they went over against him. Now, one of the other things that they mentioned was they go over some of the data points, and we'll get into more of it later. They're going to go over his social media and stuff like that. There was some information given as well about the fatal wounds to the victims. So they said that the trajectory stuff and the medical examiner and everything kind of stacked up against Melly as well, because they say that the fatal wounds came from inside the vehicle, pretty much right where Melly was sitting. We saw him in the driveway of the studio getting into the back driver's side seat in the back left. And that's where the fatal shots seem to be coming from. The one for Anthony Williams entered the back of his head and exited out of the top of his head, blowing out the front passenger window. Now, Christopher Thomas was shot in the left cheek, and that one was considered his fatal shot. So, and of course, they go by, they call them their names, their government names in court, but all the stories that you find out about them in research call them SAC or SAC Chaser and Juvie. The stippling, which is the unburnt gunpowder, gives the approximate distance of the shot being pretty much where Melly was sitting, somewhere between, I think they said 3 inches to 3 feet. Of course, there was the shell casing for like a .40 caliber that was in the floorboard where Melly was sitting. So that's not looking good either. But again, we haven't heard anything from the defense. I like to I told everybody in chat today, think about somebody that you think would never, ever do this. And you would think, nope, I don't believe it. You would have to prove it to me for me to believe it. And that's how we should go into every single trial. So it is the state's job to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. So we haven't heard defense yet, so I'm keeping an open mind, but the evidence ain't looking good right now. Now, there were some talks about some stuff that's going to be coming out too, as far as his social media goes. One of the other things that was pretty damning, according to the prosecution, is that the next morning when everybody's texting and calling to check on him, he got one message that said, "Yo, homie, you good? Let me know something." And his response was, "I did that." Shh. So that doesn't sound good either when you put it in that context. So to come out, one of the things we saw today about the trajectory of the bullets was that the back passenger door where Melly was sitting when he left the studio, that it was open for at least one of the gunshots that went into the door jamb. It had to have been open. So that kind of supports their theory about pulling over here and staging everything. So it'll be interesting to hear the other side of everything and to kind of see how all of this develops as it comes out. But that is hopefully enough to help clear up what has been said so far. So if you want to join us in chat, the more the merrier. You can join us on my YouTube, Brandy Churchwell, and it's the we're doing this every day. We're watching live and commenting and chatting and analyzing everything with 13th Juror. So join us, and I will try to keep up the graphics if anything else gets confusing. And I will also post it on my Twitter at Brandy in Church. So I appreciate y'all watching, and I will see y'all soon.